On a peaceful day, a man reaches for a bag of chips while a young girl watches him. Unfortunately, the bag he picked had a tear, and most of the chips fall to the floor. The little girl asks if he's trying to steal the chips, but he denies it. Just then, the TV in the store, which is usually only for news, suddenly grabs everyone's attention. There's breaking news about an earthquake in the area. It wasn't too powerful, and there were no casualties, but experts warn that the earthquake might get stronger, and they need to start preparing. Some students look outside, surprised by something. That's when a giant structure suddenly rises from the ground, shaking the ground and causing the store's glass to shatter. Dirt is flying everywhere, but the man shields the little girl from the impact. The girl isn't concerned about the debris, but instead she stares at what just emerged from the ground. This mysterious event isn't just happening here. Similar, enormous structures, called the Tower of Nightmares, have appeared all over the world, including in England and Japan. People started calling them this because of their strange and terrifying nature. Some people received invitations to become tower walkers, heroes chosen to save the world. Those who accepted jumped into the tower's battlefield and gained special powers, like items and skills, almost as if it were a game. But it wasn't long before they realized it was no game. The tower walkers, now equipped with new powers, watched scenes from the outside world on screens. The tower's voice echoed, warning that a tower impact was about to happen outside. Meanwhile, construction workers spotted something high up and thought it was a person. They called the authorities, but it turned out to be a demon, with many more following it. This was the start of a disaster where monsters started emerging from the tower and wreaking havoc on Earth. This event was called the Tower Impact. Despite the military's efforts to fight back, even tanks couldn't stop the creatures, and they caused chaos around the world. A third of the world's population was wiped out, and the tower walkers were forced to watch as humanity was slaughtered. One of them remembers that the invitation said something about saving the world, and they decided not to give up. The walkers, now more determined than ever, began their mission to stop the destruction of humanity by raiding the tower. They eventually come across an unbreakable wall and begin attacking it. Slowly, they break it down. One of the walkers finds a glowing stone, a return stone, which has the ability to send someone back to the time of their invitation while keeping all of their memories. The group is amazed at the power of the stone. The captain decides to try it. He uses it, and a flash of blue light blinds everyone. When the light fades, the captain is gone. The others are confused and wonder if he'll just reappear, even though he went into the past. A former science professor in the group explains that the timeline might have split, and they might never see him again. He shares theories like the multiverse and parallel universes, suggesting that when the captain went into the past, the world and his world split into two, and they may not be able to find him again. Although the situation is confusing, the group still has hope that the stone can help them return to a timeline where things went differently. As the second tower impact happens outside, they have to decide. Should they use the return stones to go back to the past, or stay and fight in the tower? As the battle becomes more hopeless, many of the walkers start using the stones, disappearing one by one. Finally, only one walker is left, ready to face his fate. Just then, someone wielding 2 daggers appears and completely defeats the massive beast. The lone walker is relieved and is told that these warriors, who didn't use the return stones, are the last hope for humanity. They are the ones who chose to keep fighting. The battle continues, and despite their exhaustion, the warriors fight on. After many battles, the situation is still dire. A monster drops a special sword, the suppressing dragon sword, which holds the power of the sun and moon. The warriors shout that this new weapon will help them reach the final floor of the tower. But when they reach the 98th floor, disaster strikes again. Most of their team is dead or dying. The last remaining warrior is badly hurt, and it looks like this might be the end. The beast charges at him, ready to finish him off, but just then, Yunnan, another walker, appears and helps him fight back. Together, they manage to land a few hits on the beast, but it's too fast. The beast uses its horn to stab Yunnan, seriously injuring him. The warrior is heartbroken and screams for Yunnan. The beast takes the opportunity to throw the already injured Yunnan into a wall. The warrior watches in horror, but somehow finds the strength to get up and grab his sword, determined to fight to the end. Juan charges bravely toward the beast, and in the final moments, he wins. He tells Yunnan that they need to keep moving, but Yunnan's injury is too severe. He holds a used return stone and apologizes. Juan remembers that even in this harsh tower, Yunnan never lost his smile, earning him the nickname Smile Knight. But today, Yunnan loses his smile for the first time. Juan urges him to leave before he changes his mind. However, the return stone Yunnan holds is old and no longer works. As Juan walks up the stairs, he reflects on how strong Yunnan was, far stronger than he initially thought. In his final moments, Yunnan sits by a window and believes that if someone like him could survive, maybe the world still has hope. With those thoughts, his life ends. Juan pauses at the door to the next floor, thinking about his friendship with Yunnan. He gathers the courage to keep going, entering the 99th tower, which looks like a snowy wasteland. Inside, he dodges endless attacks from a beast, which tells him to give up, claiming it's hopeless. But Juan refuses to quit. 10 years have passed since Juan first reached the 99th floor, and although he's faced many dangerous situations, the threat on this floor is greater than anything before. The boss of this floor is the ice dragon Velas, whose icy breath is nearly impossible to resist, even with maxed out cold resistance. Juan wonders how he survived, thinking he owes it to the equipment he found from other walkers, like the suppressing dragon sword, the ice demon armor Yunnan gave him, and the Flame King's bracelet from Hanul. He regrets not being strong enough to protect Hanul, and he still remembers her death. A blacksmith interrupts his thoughts, asking if Juan plans to challenge the 99th tower again. Juan confirms, feeling confident that he can finally defeat it. The blacksmith, the last one in the village of Atopos, notes that Juan is the only walker left. Atopos was once a thriving village after they defeated the monstrous dragon Altanus on the 50th floor, but now it's near empty. Supplies are running low, and most of the walkers are gone. The blacksmith says he's the last one who can still make equipment for the survivors. Juan doesn't comment on this and wonders about some strange markings he found on the wall where the first return stone was discovered. He wonders who made them. Then he learns that Grandma Henna disappeared 2 days ago. People don't age in the tower, so her disappearance likely means she either used a return stone to go back in time or jumped off the tower. Juan continues his journey and returns to the 99th floor, where Valis congratulates him for making it this far alone, something no human has done before. Juan finds it ironic that a monster is the one recognizing his achievement. Valis says Juan can't win, but Juan is determined to keep fighting. They continue battling, with Juan getting injured and trapped by Valis. The dragon asks why Juan keeps fighting when his future is filled with nothingness. Juan breaks free and prepares to attack again, saying that Valis talks too much. Juan focuses on his most powerful skill, his thrust, which he's perfected over time. Even though his attack is growing faster, stronger, and more accurate, Valis' armor is too tough to break. After hundreds of thrusts, Juan only manages to scratch it. But then, a bright light appears, reminding him of something he saw earlier. He decides to put all his strength into one final attack. The blow lands and Valis is shocked, but it's still not enough to defeat him. Valis rises into the air and prepares for a final strike. Juan realizes that he can't win if Valis keeps attacking from above. Valis talks about how things might have been different if Juan's people hadn't been tricked by the Maze Stone, but Juan doesn't understand. Before he can ask more, Valis attacks with his claws, and Juan narrowly avoids a fatal blow. The battle lasts for 5 years, but in the end, Valis falls. The system congratulates Juan on his victory, but Juan is more focused on Valis' mention of the Maze Stone. He demands answers, but Valis says Juan will learn everything on the last floor. After dropping the Ice Dragon Sword, Juan enters a new room with monitors showing the tower's state, including the village of Atopos. A voice behind him surprises him, saying it thought he would visit the village first. Juan is ready to attack, thinking the voice belongs to an enemy. The voice calmly tells him not to be nervous and that it has an important message to broadcast. A system message appears, congratulating Juan for completing the tutorial in World 294. His achievement is recorded in the Akashic Records, but Juan is shocked by the word tutorial. His whole world starts to crumble. The man who spoke reveals himself as Beast Streen, the master of the Tower of Nightmares.